over and over again in lane.
If this gets locked in, then I wonder if it is just a Gwen jungle. I mean, that should be Doinb, and then Nuguri goes top with the Renekton. Let's hold, because again, Sett can still go top, and Nuguri wants to be the gym junkie. I want to come back with something, Dagda, and just say that how dare you say Fnatic Adam when it was actually Direwolf's chippies from OCE that used to spam at top. So don't ever disrespect OCE again. We hug our koalas.
OCE doesn't even exist anymore. How dare you know?
Hey, LCO, all right? How dare you? I'm not sure if it's played tonight. Doesn't matter. But if they will. More interestingly, BiuBiu on the solo lane Lee Sin. We got to see if it works out, because even with the E max now, 40 less damage at level 9 when you max Tempest Cripple. It is significant, but how is BiuBiu going to feel it?
I mean, already, this was not a very good matchup for the Lee Sin. So the fact that Nuguri has the favorable matchup and you're working with a nerfed Lee Sin just makes me feel like this top half of the map is pretty much all FPX, right? And that's what you want here is Tian. Tian's worst worry right now is running into WeiWei and WeiWei chasing him down with those axes. If you're able to actually avoid that as Tian, you're in good shape. You can see he's gone for the Ghost in this matchup as well, just to get more legs underneath them to start legging that away. But I think here, FPX, you're pretty happy, right? You can continue to pressure top side. You've got Lwx who's going to be scaling, or at least for into that mid-game point where he's happy to come online with the 2 items. And for BLG, we already kind of touched on, like, aiming. I don't know how good of a game he's going to have, simply because the composition doesn't allow it. He doesn't have a particularly strong front line. When you're trying to go and get, like, a bit of peel, well, you got to deal with a Renekton, a Sett, a Gwen, hell, even Crisp just pressing ore on you, like, it is so difficult to try and survive this without really anyone there who's going to be able to tank it up. BiuBiu is going to be trying to threaten backline. So WeiWei is not going to be particularly tanky either, or at least been able to provide as much peel as he needs. So I think from BLG's comp, it just feels like it's doing a lot of different things and not quite all synergizing on the same page.
And I like that you compared it straight away to FPX's composition, because sure, if it had a specific goal in mind, if there was a different comp from FPX, maybe it seems more relevant. I think you bring up great points in terms of the dive that can access aiming in the backline, and who's going to save it? It's ppgod on a Thresh that has limited survivability himself. And then you Renekton, Sett, even Gwen, Nautilus on top. There's so much follow through. It's going to be a dangerous game for aiming, which is why I think through the laning phase, we're going to have to talk a little bit about BLG's bot. We mentioned that FPX have really been dropping the ball down in this lane, but for BLG, aiming and ppgod, you wanted to see WeiWei pay attention, and Olaf does great in these longer side lanes where he can hide into brush and look for cheeky undertows to set himself up. So let's see if WeiWei's able to get the ball rolling when the lane is at a more neutral state, as right now, it's pushing in BLG's favor.
And it feels like the best way for BLG to try and play this is to, you know, look for these early dragons, because you've got the push from aiming in that bot side. And then when FPX are trying to contest later on, try and see if you can find a couple of picks with Zeka, with BiuBiu, with ppgod being able to get that hook. But already we can see, we talked about this top lane going well for FPX. They're going to go look for the dive.
But Nuguri's so low. He's just going to hit turret for now, wait for the base breaker, tanking up by Tian, but under the turret doesn't matter. BiuBiu's going to get a double kill. I said Nuguri was low. Why did they do that? Doinb's now here, slice and dice, flash on in. BiuBiu just has to hit him. Sonic Wave, heals up. No! FPX, what the hell were you thinking?
That was so bad. Why?
And Lwx has got a double kill.
Takes a sip of the coffee. Yeah, I mean, look, if Nuguri goes for this as well, I'm out of here. But
what?
Look, I mean, what was you called it Hysterics, right? Nuguri was too low, wasn't going to be able to tank it up. He takes a terror shot and he's instantly got to blow his haymaker. You get Tian to tank it, but Tian is Ghost. Tian isn't able to just flash out a terror range, and it's also got that ramp up period, so he's not able to get out. And BiuBiu, he's now got 3 kills. He's got an Iron Spike whip to a longsword. Forget about the fact that Nuguri had control of this lane. It's doomed. Like, 2 shots from that tower, Nuguri's dead. So he's not able to tank it up. You've got Ghost there as well. And to give BiuBiu his credit, BiuBiu played that so well. Flashing away, getting the Sonic Wave on towards the backline as well. And then Doinb, he's too late to the party. He's already got the... I think he had Conqueror. I'm not entirely sure fully stacked there as well. So he's getting some amount of healing off it. I just can't quite kill him. And then bot side here, aiming, ppgod, hooked underneath the tower. Crisp manages to flash away, but it's still the kill coming through for Lwx.
And then how does I'm just surprised, Dagda, because remember we said, oh, Crisp and Lwx been playing so bad. And then Lwx and Crisp come out clutch, and Top completely runs it down. BiuBiu's level 6. God Fist Lee Sin is going to have so much meaning as Tian comes out.
Tian,
I would just go for
he
this.
Just murders you.
Even with Doinb coming up, you have to be careful. There's no mid pressure right now. WeiWei's not here, so it is dangerous, but BiuBiu's walking around because this is his map right now. Forget the CS, folks. Look at the kills and look at how the game started against FPX. It might not be a gold lead, but the Lee Sin is... You're never going to feel the nerfs at this point.
No, it doesn't matter. Like, we talked about his, you know, his wave clear, a little bit weaker when he gets to level 9. Dude has an orange spike. It's 5 minutes into the game. Like, that doesn't matter anymore. There's your extra damage that he's been missing off that Tempest, so it doesn't make any ounce of difference. And as well, already said for BLG, whatever about aiming and ppgod messing up that bot lane play, giving over the 2 kills, just from a sheer range advantage and the rockets, you still have pushing that bot lane. So WeiWei, he's able to get control over this dragon. Also, because Doinb had roamed up to try and help that play, Zeka actually has some priority in this mid lane as well to help out on that dragon play.
What a disaster, though, starting off. I just want to come back because you already set up the conditions. Here we go, though. Into Nuguri. It is still a set. He has flash, but if BiuBiu hits Sonic Wave, Nuguri will have to burn it straight away. Wait for it. Ward hop, Sonic Wave, straight on in. He flashes and dunks him, though! But doesn't matter. Still gets the kill. The shutdown, however, might be more worth as we fight in the bottom lane. ppgod in trouble, has to flash away the dredge line to re-engage. Aiming in the thick of it as ppgod manages to escape. They're turning with WeiWei. Ragnarok hit onto Lwx. It's a bounty to claim, and it's a bounty that's not going to come back again. Tian Chris locked down, undertow one more time. Aiming doesn't have the ulti available, but Zeka ready to slip through. Ulti itself onto Tian, hits melee range, takes him out, escapes, and flashes. BLG 6-3, the early game all theirs.
It's all gone disastrously for FPX. BLG are coming out of the woodwork and destroying them. Zeka getting that first move mid means he can join in that fight bot lane. FPX have to run for the hills, and we said already, Zeka's best champions are these assassins, and he's showing it there. A clean kill and a flash away underneath that tower.
And can we just come back and point out that top lane play for Nuguri, I mean, that's great. He had flash, he straight away flash instant showstopper. BiuBiu may get the kill, but that added to the bounty, and it all went to Nuguri. So he's back in the game, while the bottom lane just lost themselves out of the game.
And look at the way that this map state is right? You've got the Akali can move in, both top laners are dead, they don't matter. But moving down here, like, WeiWei does more than Tian right now. He said the worst thing that Tian could have is running into WeiWei, and he's just able to chase him down with these axes. Well, that's exactly what happened in that bottom lane play, and you've got Amy who's wailing over the top of you as well. So Zeka manages to get a kill, you get a kill going for WeiWei. And now at 8 minutes, this top half of the map is so incredibly buff for BLG, you can't try and go and contest this Rift Herald. Although that being said, you do have push in here for Nuguri in that top lane, a bit of control here for Doinb, but BLG have already rotated.
And it's set. The problem is, it is set. Lwx is here first. Good call on this one, Dagda. ppgod moving up. Wait for Nuguri's showstopper and showmaker into the fight. FPX in the back of the pit. It begins with Wei ulting in. Ragnarok, 3-man play. The smite out early. Chris has to evacuate as Tian is left into the middle of it. Doesn't matter. Zeka is finding backline access. Chris isolated. Doinb waiting to dominus here with flash. But 5 members of BLG stalk the prey. The max range death sentence. The Herald as well. It goes down, but BLG want the blood. TP onto the back end as showstopper finally comes through. Nuguri as well, hitting like a truck, waiting for the haymaker. He picks up the Herald. He blasts Zeka. Coming so close. The top lane set makes it better than it looked for FPX.
But it's still a mess for FPX. You gave over so many kills in that fight. And yes, you got the Rift Herald, but look at the scoreboard at the top of your screen. 2,500 gold for BLG right now. those 2 to 3 turrets that you're going to get, you're already trading them mid for aiming top for BiuBiu, and this is so messy. I don't know why FPX tried to come in onto this. Like, Chris already has a flash out of the pit. Lwx is out of there as well. Zeka is threatening so much on this backline, and yes, Tian has kind of been left to his lonesome in the pit and he can finish off the Rift Herald, but everyone else on FPX is in so much trouble. Nuguri, I have to give him his credit, like, he did the best he could to turn this around, and honestly was a key factor in why at least FPX got some gold back, but it's not going to be enough to change the fact BLG's wiped them.
Yeah, they really did. I mean, I was just highlighting the fact of how close it was at the end, but it wasn't close at all. 3-0 Akali, 6-1 Lee Sin. He's got his bounty back. You know, it's a return movie.
Already. It's 10 minutes.
And everyone knows, it's like Shrek, you know? The first one's great. You get that turret dive, you get 3 kills. But the second one was the best in the franchise. And BiuBiu's now pulled out his second movie. He's starring, showcasing, and 10 CS up even in that top lane with pushing the wave and 2 turret plates. That is a gore drinker earlier than anyone expected. Nuguri may have Blade of the Ruined King, but there's a big chance that BiuBiu is not going to stop accelerating with a 1,600 lead over Nuguri.
It's absolutely insane. I was going to say, yes, you got your first item there for Nuguri. You got no boots. You've had to, like, you're going to have to actively give up a huge amount of this pressure in that top side as well. And the big thing here is, like, it does become a game of cat and mouse with BiuBiu and with Nuguri. It's a case of, can BiuBiu find the right moment in time to get enough burst damage off to kill Nuguri before he haymakers, or avoid that haymaker and then follow up afterwards? And it becomes really difficult for Nuguri to play that game because of, one, the amount of burst that BiuBiu has, but also it's so hard for Nuguri to now trade against them because of that gore drinker that's there and the ability to heal up every time Nuguri tries to at least trade effectively against this Lee Sin.
And if he goes up against Zeka, I mean, Zeka will blast him. So you have to look at, like, either side lane is going to be hard for him because Zeka may only have the Sork shoes for now, folks, but expect that Mythic coming nice and early. Nuguri holding the Herald, maybe that's some kind of cool retribution here. Does damage into BiuBiu. Haymaker not going to get the true damage, but now BiuBiu can follow up. Remember, it's Gore Drink at least in. Sonic Wave doesn't connect, though. Dagda, side note, have you actually seen what he's maxing? There we go. It's a Q max up in the top lane. Just so we were talking about it before and can highlight that. Tempest Cripple going to be maxed next, of course.
Yeah, and again, this is going to be thanks to nerfs, but also to a certain extent because of the matchup as well. This lane matchup is more so about trying to get as much trading back and forth as possible against Nuguri. Make sure that he's not able to just heal himself up as well.
All right. Never mind,
okay,
forget it.
Just going to back it up.
So, let's just come back a bit because it's double dragon for BLG. They hold the cards in terms of kills, objectives. Nuguri right now going to get blasted.
We're not bringing it back.
No, they're not. I mean, Nuguri's dead. He can't even get up on the showstopper. Cooldown will come through as well. He has TP, but he's not up for another 30 seconds. BiuBiu running into the turret, and oh no, Dagda. Herald's going to time out while Nuguri's dead, and Tian is going to die against the wall. Needlework gives him a bit of healing as WeiWei has to flash over the wall. Ignore that because the slowdown and Doinb rolling in matters quite a lot, while in the mid lane, Lwx and Chris use everything to try and kill ppgod and aiming. No depth charge, no true shot barrage. They live on. Well, the Herald's soon to spawn, and FPX turn a play in the top side.
I feel sorry for Nuguri. He was like, yeah, I think, you know, BLG, they're going to focus me top lane. And instead it was his team that's given over the top lane advantage. And now he's the one paying for it. However, looking at BLG, they still have these opportunities, right? Aiming is going to be looking to scale later into the game. So the fact that you already have this 4,000 gold lead for BLG is going to buy a pretty cushion for aiming in these next couple of minutes. And as well, Zeka, he's going to be looking towards that Rift Maker. He's going to be in a great spot. BiuBiu, we've already highlighted, is in an insane position. So suddenly that backline dive that we're talking about from FPX isn't looking quite as threatening. Nuguri and Doinb are so far behind that they just won't be able to match the same threat that's coming through from BiuBiu and Zeka.
4,000 gold lead, 14 minutes. I like that you talk about the backline threat. It's like, yeah, the backline threat of Lee Sin Akali definitely going to hurt the Renekton and Sett, who are so far behind. FPX just trying to get turrets on these side lanes while Doinb has to dominus away from BiuBiu. You know what BiuBiu used? E. And then a Q. And that was about it. So he'll stay dominant up in this top side while WeiWei shadows for For FPX, all about this bottom lane turret and getting some gold back. That's something, but still not enough in this game when BLG are dragon stacking, when they have the item advantage easily, and Crisp, you can't make it that obvious, Dagda.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he kind of is, and now you got BLG who taking mid, taking top, they take top vision, they get Rift Herald, and your turrets are starting to look a little bit weak now if you're on an FPX side. Yes, you've got Zeka, who had to answer for that bot lane push where Nuguri and Tian were able to take the turret, but you're a long way from kind of being in a comfortable position as FPX. Like, we talk about the late game condition for BLG being aiming. The late game condition for FPX is Tian. But a jungler who's behind, losing out on his jungle because BLG are stealing it all away, and the fact you have to still get another 2 items under your belt before you're relevant, means it's going to be a pretty difficult time here for FPX to have that late game insurance when their mid game is going so terribly.
I mean, I'm not even going to think about that, Dagda. Against the Jinx and Akali who's dealing with a comp that sure will have double bruiser and eventually a tank, but I really don't want to talk about it at this point. It just seems so doomed. You've got dragon stacking as well. Infernal Soul for an Akali Lee Sin who are ahead is going to be so much worse. Sure, it can flip taken here. That means Zeka is exposed, but they don't have enough damage. They need the Gwen in. Tian with Riftmaker is going to be everything but spotted out. Zeka now on the run. He can buy time with the smoke screen. 1 versus 3 into the brush. Jumps through with the perfect execution. Not going to be knocked up by Crisp. He's bought the said time and has the other activation. Dredge line depth charge, but Zeka's out. The rest of BLG are coming in. ppgod turns to the left and everybody step to the right. FPX now getting blasted with a kick flash from BiuBiu, who is just reeling in the years here on this pick. Double kill over to aiming. More to come as Doinb has to run for the hills. BLG can do no wrong, say no wrong, and get nothing but success from this game 1.
They get all the kills, they get the bottom lane turret as well, and now they can turn towards this dragon. Yes, the junglers are dead, but who is even going to try and contest this on FPX's side? This game has gone so far out of control for FPX that they are already looking at the next one.
Well, this is a good sign from BLG. IG must have done something to FPX in that last series because they're not looking good, Dagda. That dive top was like everybody jumping into the clown car and trying to get out at once, you know? It was not good whatsoever. And they've been paying for it with each and every play here. As Doinb lucky to get an objective at this point in the game. You mentioned things like the Dragon Soul coming up. Dagda, we have Baron in 2 minutes 30 as well. With a Jinx, they do it fast enough. So there's going to be so many threats on the map for FPX to deal with. And we don't even need to talk about Lwx if he can scale in the game, if Tian can do the same. I think at this point, we just talk about how BLG can keep closing it out and destroy FPX's chances of ever winning a fight.
And that's the thing, right? We kind of looked at, like, take Tian out of the equation. FPX have a pretty heavy mid-game spiking team, right? Lwx, though, with the Divine Sunder now completed, he is weaker than he was before. Not only dealing 9% of his max health off that Divine Sunder, rather than the 12% that we'd seen previously. Oh, actually, Doinb might be in trouble here. No, he's just going to be able to back away. But, like, this spike for them is a lot weaker than we would have seen previously. And BLG, with how far ahead they are, like, it's kind of done and dusted. Might even look to crack open the inhibitor turret.
Doinb's sticking around. He's going to get flayed back, of course. ppgod angling for the hook. He finds it. And Doinb's just dead. Even in the dominance, no way, Jose. Especially with a 3-1-7 Jinx now running through. Zeka baits it out. He's looking stylish this game, Dagda. And so is everyone on BLG. Doinb down for 30 seconds while in the mid lane. BiuBiu's having it out. He takes hardly any damage here now with Hysterics gauge. And FPX, they lose themselves an inner turret. They lose themselves an inhibitor turret in one fell swoop.
And I like that BLG didn't take that, right? We've been talking about it a lot where, look, if you end up taking this inhibitor before the 20-minute mark, you end up just giving a bunch of resources over towards FPX without being able to use that extra pressure towards something like the Baron, towards a Dragon or something along these lines. So instead, they leave open the inhibitor. Now you can actually have BiuBiu look to threaten that towards next Dragon that's up in 3 minutes. You can always have that popped as soon as the Baron comes online, and it becomes so difficult then for FPX to actually deal with it.
Well, we're just going to watch this again. I mean, Doinb just thinks he can slice and dice out, but you're against a Thresh. Like, he counters you. He counters your slice and dice. He flays you back, and that's it. So, what more to say, Dagda, than good stuff from BLG. FPX actually would be... I'd be tilted off the face of the earth.
Oh, Nuguri.
Yeah, he's probably
Nuguri
dead.
could
Sonic
be dead.
Wave. Bye. Okay, we expect that. BiuBiu's just gotten a solo kill. You know why it's not super hyped, guys? He's 8-1. He had 3 people dive him at level 3 and level 4. And they gave him...
died.
Yeah, they all died. Baron's up, though, and at 20 minutes, aiming with how much he's doing, they can take this.
And honestly, once Nuguri used that haymaker, it was all over. That entire matchup revolves around it. And once it's down, you can see BiuBiu instantly. He's like, cool, now I've got the burst damage that I need. WeiWei taking rather low in this pit. It is only 3 people as Zeka is sitting off on the side trying to see what he can find.
Look at the flank. He's flashed over as well. They're in so much trouble. Chris about to die too. And Lwx getting hit hard by the Lee Sin. The death sentence over the wall. We criticized ppgod. We said he's had a rough start to the split, but having a pretty good Thresh game here in game number 1. BLG will move back towards the Baron and do it all again.
Yeah, Thresh has always been one of ppgod's best champions, so nice to see him performing again. But as he said, you know, it gets a bit easier when your team is so far ahead. Now Zeka threatening up against Doinb on top side. Always the opportunity here for BLG to try and turn back towards the Baron if they wanted to, but they're just going to take their winnings. You got the Phantom Dancer completed for aiming. He'll be able to start working towards that Infinity Edge as well. He's going to be very quickly getting to the point where he's absolutely nuts. And you can see here, right, a 2-level disadvantage. And Nuguri, as soon as you get that haymaker popped, it just means that BiuBiu has the burst damage. And he was only waiting to see if he could try and bait that out before he went for the all-in.
You notice when the dead turrets are there on the replay, we can see beneath Summoner's Rift where like the turret holes are. It's kind of wacky. You ever wonder what's beyond Summoner's Rift?
It's all an illusion. No,
okay.
We don't let them peek behind the curtain.
Oh, there's nothing behind Summoner's Rift. That's right. Sorry. There's no world outside. There's probably families down there, Dagda. Come on, man. Well,
Jesus, that got dark.
Well, it's not dark. It's positive. How's family's dark? Not down there. I mean, that could be a happy place. After you're done, when you go, you sit with your family for 30 seconds. You say, guys, I've just tried to dive a Lee Sin in the top lane. What do I do? They say, don't do that again. And then after you respawn 15 seconds later, you leave your family and you come back onto Summoner's Rift. That's what happens behind the curtain, Dagda, is Infernal Soul.
Just to find it. You know that saying is like, if your friend jumped off a cliff, would you do it? I feel like that's what we witnessed here with FPX. But we're going to get this fight as Soul is now picked up.
They got Infernal Soul. Goodbye. Kickback. Beautiful from BiuBiu. The game over. Nuguri tries to carry him away. Doinb into the middle of it as well. Wei has to actually flash, but you forget about aiming. He's just in melee range, zapping away, and the rest of BLG succeed. 5-0, and Baron is next.
Baron is going to be melted. You've got the push in top lane. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised to see if like Zeka moves up top, tries to shove in that wave, and just collapse it completely on towards that top inhibitor. But if you run into the middle here is BLG, 11,000 gold lead, Infernal Soul, aiming's coming online, Baron going your way. What do you do as FPX?
You just kind of accept it at this point because the game's done. Baron taken, turret gone, 12k gold lead at 23 minutes. BLG making FPX remember the Invictus game in game 1. Because this is what it feels like. It feels like an absolute massacre where FPX can do no right.
Oh, I didn't even catch that.
It was sick.
BiuBiu. That was gorgeous. Getting directly into the backline. Nuguri tries his best, but it's too little too late. And even here, ppgod, no matter how low he goes, they refuse to die to FPX.
Well, Dagda, now we're just going to wait for this one to finish because, again, like, you've got an inhibitor turret open top side. You've got inhibitor turrets bottom and mid. Inner still there as well. Baron now picked up. Infernal Soul. These are one of the games where in solo queue, you know, you'd be so tilted. You'd be tilted more so if someone didn't surrender rather than the way it's lost. His box is down. Tian actually caught out in the middle. Good TP flank. ppgod at half health as well. TP in the back line though. The Thresh exposed here. Doinb's running on in. A good pick from FPX, but it's still traded away as aiming has gotten away. Base breaker even better. FPX getting this close to the fight. That's pretty good, but Zeka exists and BiuBiu is still at full HP. Ace again, 2 down, and now the base to go.
And it's kind of just been a whitewash here. BLG, they're able to get that full control from the early stage, and Honestly, I just assumed they're going to walk top here. Yeah, there we go. They'll walk through the... No, walk through the turret, and you could just end the game here.
He could. So they're like,
Where's
nah.
Wait, team, go.
What are they doing? Zeke's just hitting by himself. Why did we not go through base? The question will remain unknown. Lwx and Chris are going to respawn, so the game's not over. And Zeka, probably bad that the game didn't end right there. All right, they want it to go on.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I know that BLG's like average game time is not great. They're like the worst team in the league, so maybe they just need to like play to their strengths. You know, they cannot end the game before the 30-minute mark. It's like in their contract.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, give the viewers more time to think about.
You can't time it. You can't check it early. You know, they actually need to clock in to the Rift.
Oh,
they got a little like system set up, so it's like they need to hit their 30 minutes, or else you know they don't. They get
paid by the minute, not paid by the hour. You know, you feel. So need to really milk that. And BLG, like, we got to get to a 30-minute game. How can we do that? Well, maybe someone could run it down 3 or 4 times, and FPX still wouldn't come back into this game. So you can see. Lwx, is he dead? Well, Super Mega Death Rocket puts him to half HP. Zeka's now rolling in. They start on ppgod, but BiuBiu's here. Good playback. Good night to FPX. This game was doomed from the start. Into the wall, doesn't matter. And this one is going home. Except FPX are not the ones taking it.
Now BLG, dominant game 1. A lot of that coming from those early mistakes from FPX. But BLG, they punish well.
32 kills, Dagda. Dominant, not the word. This was the difference between God and men. And BLG were the gods in game 1. Well played.
Between the people who live on Summoner's Rift and the people who live below
Summoner's Rift. But that's our family, Dagda. We don't diss on the people that live below Summoner's Rift. Again, when you die on the Rift, you go down there, you have a talk with the family. It's like in a boxing ring when there's a timeout. You know, they give you the pep talk. And you need to recover from that. Unfortunately, FPX didn't have a good pep talk because, boy, that was not a good game from them.
I think they got like back on and they forgot to put the gumshoe back in. There's the guy with the water bottle looking at his hand going, I knew I forgot something, because they got whacked in that game. Definitely a couple of teeth came loose, as well as, God, that early dive, man. That was so sad.
That was just such a silly game from FPX. That was just so silly. Diving a Lee Sin as a Gwen, a Sett with like 1/3 of your HP.
With Ghost as well.
And I don't understand. I don't know, man. If we're seeing it, I'm sure a lot of other people are seeing it as well. That was just real bad. How do you analyze that game? I mean, there's nothing to really talk about. Like, we can talk about BLG and their success and how they played through solo lanes, but BiuBiu was set up, and then Zeka as well in the early fights. FPX tried to double down. BLG around the Herald, like, everyone was in the back of the Herald pit, had to burn Flash, and then Zeka's there, hitting off everyone in the backline.
Yeah, it felt like FPX kind of had a game plan, and we're doing this regardless of what happens. And I think, as you said, like, BiuBiu did well. He completely outplayed them. Like, he actually did a really good job at his dive. Like, we can talk about FPX messing it up, but it was BiuBiu who actually outplayed it. So I think a great job from BiuBiu to manage that. I think the difference here as well was, while all that messing about was going on in top lane, you had WeiWei slowly but surely picking up these dragons. And that was just playing off of aiming and ppgod, who, although gave over those 2 early kills, were still able to use that priority successfully. Zeka doing a really good job in that mid lane as well, of going toe-to-toe against Doinb. And then we just got to a stage where, look, BLG, they're just so far ahead when it came to gold, objective control, everything else that came with it. And as you said, those skirmishes at Rift Heralds were just kind of like the cherry on top for how far ahead BLG were. Yeah,
I mean, utilizing BiuBiu, BLG being in a better position, having their ultis up as well. It was just a good game from every member, right? FPX channeling into points and just setting themselves up for failure, because that's what it feels like. You know, we can talk about, like, FPX are the ones who set themselves up for failure. BLG still get mad props, and I think BiuBiu surviving the dive and playing around it was good, but we have high standards of FPX. They are a world champion for a reason. 4 out of 5 of these members won Worlds in 2019. And in 2020, the other member who didn't win it with them won Worlds on Dam 1. So, I don't know, when you have recent world champions within one team, you kind of expect something, you know, a little bit higher than this.
I mean, what happens? Does, like, BiuBiu now just get both titles? I'm not sure what way that, or well, 3 titles, but I'm not sure what way that works. But either way, like, It felt very strange to me how heavily they wanted to go for that when Doinb wasn't in a position. It felt like there was a lot of kind of mixed communication there. And I don't know if it was Doinb then coming up kind of going, hey, maybe I can solidify this or try and right the wrongs, but even he wasn't able to manage it as well. So I think on FPX, I don't think this is going to be an indication of like, hey, this is how the rest of the series goes. I think it's a flub. BLG did a really good job of punishing that and playing around the fact that they had such a strong top lane. I think for game number 2, we'll see FPX come back to the drawing board, play a safer game, and look to play their style rather than giving BLG that early lead.
I hope so, Dagda, because game 1, we don't want to see again. We're here for good League of Legends. And so, it's time to go to a break. But when we return, will they run it down again here on LPL Twitch?
Woo!